Good afternoon. I'm very happy that we have a special guest in Oriflame, professional perfumer, Alexandra Carlin. Welcome, Alexandra.
Hello.
And to become a perfumer, what do you have to study?
Alors, by the past, you didn't have to study anything. you needed to be born in Grasse and to have your father a perfumer. In the 70s, last century, in the 70s, they created a school, a perfumery school, the ISIPCA, which I did more recently. But they created a school which opened this job of perfumers to everybody, and it became also international. So now you have not only French perfumers but international perfumers, and it really opened the function of perfumer to many people. But you needed to pass an exam. You had a smelling evaluation, and you need to also recognize some iconic products of the market and to know a little bit of history and chemistry as well. I don't use chemistry in my day-to-day work, not at all. I work in an office with a computer, and I have all the smell in my mind. I memorized everything. This is what you learn in the school, how to memorize all the smell. Basically, you memorize them, putting some words behind each of ingredients. And the words can be taken to the area of the cooking, and to the area of to the colors, to the sounds as well. So, and all this words will help you to visualize the smell. And you just register in your head.
So this is also what you learn at school.
Yes.
What else? Was there any specific subject that maybe you think it would be interesting for us to reveal that you studied?
Yes, we learn about perfume history, when it started, all the iconic perfumes, American perfumery, when did it start? You need to have all these reference to grow yourself as a perfumer and to have your proper identity. It's the same for painters. Picasso at the very beginning, he was doing very classical paintings, inspiring by the antiques. So I think the beginning it's good to know what has been done before, just to in future eventually make your own style, your own creative signature, probably.
That's interesting. And can you maybe describe as your day, how your usual day looks like? How it is the day of a perfumer at work?
Alors, a perfumer is not working in a lab.
No.
We work in an office and with a computer. And the formula, I call it a formula, but it has nothing to do with chemistry. It's like a recipe, like a chef recipe. You will bring it to your assistant who work in the lab, and he sits in front of the orgue à parfum, where all the raw materials are put
displayed.
It's displayed, yes. And he will compound for me, and he will put into alcohol, and I will smell, but in my office, which is a neutral place. The floor where perfumers are working is very neutral in terms of smell. Otherwise, it would be saturated, and it's not easy after to evaluate on blotters and on skin, and so you can't work definitely in the lab. It has to be in another floor.
I understand, but you also go to the lab.
Yeah, I go to the lab sometimes to check raw materials, or I ask if I want to resmell an ingredient, I can ask to resmell to my assistant, or I can go directly to the lab. It's really moving between the first and second floor. It's really alive.
So what else do you do during your casual workday as a perfumer?
So it's in between a smelling session. We smell what we created the day before. And in between all this smelling session, we have to attend some meeting where we would smell new ingredients, new raw materials, or we will smell some market products just to see what's going on in the market. We will also attend some strategic meetings. We can also meet with the marketing to get some inspiration for new projects. So yeah, it's really sitting in my office, smelling my trials, and after attending some meetings, and to exchange also with my colleagues. When I smell the trials I make on perfumes, I not by myself. I also work with an evaluator dedicated to the project, and we will smell together. Sometimes we also can invite the salesperson in charge of the project. So we are at least 2 or 3 smelling my trials. And what is good is not smelling only on blotter. We have to smell on skin. So most of the time we call people from the other team, maybe people from marketing or people from the sales or people from not from the lab, because they need to concentrate and to compound. But yeah, it's really important to smell on skin as well. And voila, we also look at the trail. So we have a specific machine in our floor just to evaluate the trail. It's like a big tube. We call it the tube. It's really interesting to compare between one fragrance and another. Which one is the most powerful, for example.
If you maybe can explain for all of us more in details that what is the head of the fragrance, what is the heart of the fragrance, what is the bottom of the fragrance. Yeah. So please explain us as an expert, what does it mean?
Well, it really links to the volatility. So when we talk about the top notes, it's the one you really smell from the beginning, and they won't stay after several hours. So they're really the first impression you get. Smelling a perfume, it's not, you can't dissociate, you will have everything together, but the top notes are the more like volatiles and diffusive on top notes. Mostly are the citrus, the spices as well, some herbs as well, aromatics. In the middle, most of the time it's a floral notes. So it will stay several hours on your skin. So it's a floral note, some spices as well, but you have different kind of spices. More top notes, some are middle notes, and the dry note. It's the one which are the most the most loud, the most heavy. So it will stay longer on skin. It's the woods, the musk. When we talk about molecule, it's the biggest molecule because it will evaporate after a very long time. But regarding the trail, talking about the trail, it's mostly the heart notes and the dry down.
So if we actually want to buy the fragrance, it's really good to wear it the whole day, just to see or to smell it from the beginning until the end, because then we know how
you have a good impression since the beginning, but you have to wait at least 10 minutes. And but you're right, it's good to smell it on blotter, but what is better is to try on your skin, just to see how it goes, how it evaporates after a certain time.
And is it also true that it can smell differently when it's on anyone else's skin? Like each of us can smell differently with the same fragrance. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. But normally, when you have a strong signature, you would even recognize on a person or on another. But yes, you're right. The skin can interfere with the smell. But voilà. And again, you have to experience on skin.
Okay, and as a perfumer, what would you recommend how to use the fragrance?
For me, there is really no rule. It's really something personal. We used to say it's good to use a perfume where you have a pulse, or maybe on the ankle or just here behind the ears. But I personally wear perfume in my neck as well, and I put sometimes another one on my scarf. So it's really something personal. Yes, there is not really rules. Sorry, I don't have clue about this.
I also would like to mention and to ask you on what Oriflame brands you worked on, which fragrances you prepared in the past, and what other international brands you worked with, and what fragrances you did in the past.
Yeah, Oriflame is a special brand for me because I think one of my first perfume I created was for Oriflame was Grace. More than 10 years ago. It was a feminine floral bouquet. And after that, I created M by Marcel Marangiou, Amazing Paradise, VIP Only. This was some feminine one, but I did also masculine, Ultimate. I worked on the brand Signature as well, so Signature Zoom, Signature Heritage. I did also Glacier Rock and Éclat Toujours more recently.
And some other international brands that you worked on already?
Yeah, I work on international brands and for all the countries. So I work for Jil Sander, Hugo Boss, Davidoff, French designer like Givenchy, Paco Rabanne. I'm briefed on many projects, and I work on more confidential brands as well, niche perfumes.